In the heat of the wilderness, surrounded by nothing but barren hills and endless silence, a woman walks alone. Her name is Hagar, and her story is not just about suffering, it's about survival, faith, and the God who sees. Hagar wasn't born into prominence. She was an Egyptian servant, likely given little thought in Abraham and Sarah's household. But sometimes, the ones society overlooks are the very ones God calls by name. Sarah, Abraham's wife, was tired of waiting for God's promise. She was barren, and the years of longing wore on her soul. So, in desperation, she handed Hagar over to Abraham to bear a child on her behalf. Can you imagine being Hagar? Not a wife, not a beloved, but a surrogate by command, no choice, no voice, just obedience wrapped in quiet pain. And when Hagar conceived, the tension in the house grew unbearable. Sarah, once desperate, now became jealous. Hagar, perhaps for the first time, held something of value, a child, a future. But her newfound position didn't bring peace, it brought cruelty. Unable to bear the abuse, Hagar fled into the desert, alone, pregnant, without protection, no food, no water, just fear and exhaustion driving her steps across the sand. But it was there in the middle of nowhere that everything changed. Genesis 16 says, "The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert." Think about that. God found her. He sought her. He called her by name. "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She hadn't told anyone. She hadn't prayed a loud prayer. But God saw her. And he met her, not in a palace, but in her wilderness. In that encounter, Hagar became the first person in Scripture to give God a name. She called him El Roi, the God who sees me. She said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." That moment wasn't just a divine appointment. It was a restoration of dignity. God didn't just see her pain. He acknowledged it. He honored her journey. And he gave her a promise. "You are now pregnant, and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery." He told her to return, not because her suffering didn't matter, but because he had a plan. Her son, Ishmael, would also become a great nation. Her life was not a detour, it was a destiny. And so she returned, not in defeat, but with a promise. Her walk back into that house wasn't one of shame, but of strength. She carried the voice of God within her, and even if no one else understood, she knew. She was seen. Years later, Sarah bore Isaac, and the conflict between the sons between Hagar and Sarah reignited. Once again, Hagar and Ishmael were cast out, this time for good, back in the wilderness, wandering, weeping, waiting for death. But again, the God who sees showed up. Genesis 21 says, "God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. And he opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. Where there was death, God brought life." Hagar's story is one of the most overlooked in Scripture, but it holds deep truths for us today. How many of us feel forgotten, cast aside, walking through deserts of rejection, heartbreak, or confusion? Hagar reminds us that even when the world labels us by our lowest roles, servant, rejected, single parent, othered, God calls us by name. He doesn't wait for us to clean up. He meets us at the spring in the desert. He opens our eyes to new provision, and he makes a way where there is no way. Maybe your desert isn't made of sand. Maybe it's a season of depression, divorce, or distance from your dreams. But listen, El Roi sees you. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. Your tears are collected, your cries are heard, and your journey, just like Hagar's, has divine purpose. If Hagar could speak to you today, she might say this: "Don't give up in the desert. The God who sees me sees you too. And he's not just watching. He's with you."